It is the service of Indy's countless thousands of crew members, past and present, like those you see in front of us today, in the different variety of uniforms that they work in or serve in, that have allowed this great ship to be here. I like to think of them as citizens of our city. Engineers, pilots, doctors, dentists, chefs and bakers, plumbers and welders, sailors and Marines. You name the job, and Independence has the people who can do it right. As of today, the USS Independence is the oldest commissioned ship on active service. And therefore, the oldest ship has the honor of flying the Don't Tread on Me Jack.
But I will tell you one thing, I'm certain that you will be returning on time. The thing I see in jeopardy right now would be the Singapore port call. He may very well have just asked you to cruise into the Persian Gulf region faster than you anticipated.
Liberty ashore. Let's think about going home now. We're going to pull in tomorrow morning at 0800. We're on schedule for that. We do have some overcast skies here, but hopefully the rain will keep away from us tomorrow morning. You need to think about Liberty ashore.
Welcome aboard USS Independence. 1995 was a great year for the I-5 team, but Freedom's flagship has had a lot of good years. So before we jump into 1995, let's take a brief look back at some of Indy's history.
USS Independence CV-62 was commissioned as a four-star class attack aircraft carrier, known as CV-62, at the Brooklyn Naval Shipyard in New York on January 10, 1959. She is the fifth U.S. Navy ship to bear the name Independence. Since commissioning, Freedom's flagship has been on the cutting edge in projecting naval air power and protecting U.S. national interests around the globe. Called on by President John F. Kennedy during the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, Independence provided a strong, visible reminder of U.S. determination in the blockade of Cuba. In 1964, the ship deployed for more than 7 months off the coast of Vietnam, and in 1973, President Nixon delivered his annual Armed Forces Day address from the decks of Independence. In 1982, the ship provided critical support for the multinational peacekeeping force in Lebanon. In 1983, aircraft from the embarked air wing flew missions in support of Operation Urgent Fury, the action to liberate the Caribbean nation of Grenada. Returning to Lebanon that same year, the ship's air wing conducted airstrikes against Syrian positions. In June of 1988, Independence completed the Service Life Extension Program, or SLEP, at the Philadelphia Navy Shipyard. Later in 1988, the ship transited around the tip of South America and arrived at her new home port of San Diego, California. In August of 1990, with Carrier Air Wing 14 embarked, Independence acted to deter Iraqi aggression during Operation Desert Shield. She was the first carrier to enter the Arabian Gulf since 1974. Independence changed home ports again on September 11th of 1991, this time to Yokosuka, Japan, embarking Carrier Air Wing 5 and becoming the Navy's only forward-deployed aircraft carrier. The ship again deployed to the Arabian Gulf in mid-1992 and started the Southern Watch operation. It monitored Iraqi compliance with the UN-established no-fly zone below the 32nd parallel. In March of 1994, the team of Independence and Carrier Air Wing 5 returned to Japan after successfully completing another deployment to the Arabian Gulf in support of Operation Southern Watch. Indy's next challenge took her to Hawaii for Exercise RIMPAC. With dozens of ships from 5 different nations, Independence again showed her flexibility in joint service operations. On her return to Yokosuka from RIMPAC, Indy entered dry dock for her last docking selected restricted availability period.
Beepers Order 0135 to Captain Dennis Wayne Ireland. When directed by Reporting Senior, detached in January 1995 from USS Independence, and report to Commander Naval Air Forces Atlantic, Norfolk, Virginia. Dave, I'm ready to be relieved.
I will now read my orders. From Chief of Naval Personnel, Washington, D.C., to Captain David P. Pilati III, United States Navy. Subject Bupers Order 1864. When directed by Reporting Senior, detached from NATO Defense College, Rome, Italy, and report in January 1995 to USS Independence for duty in a flying status involving flying. As Commanding Officer, USS Independence.
It was cold the morning of April 12th when Independence slipped out of berth 12 at Fleet Activities Yokosuka, Japan, to head south for the warmer waters around Hong Kong and Thailand. Indy had spent the last 3 months doing sea trials, getting her sea legs, so to speak, getting the pilots of Carrier Air Wing 5 carrier qualified, and getting used to her new commanding officer, Captain David P. Pilati III. The first few months of 1995 had been a transition period, and now it was time to put things to the test. Boilers had to be lit off and brought up to capacity. Weapon systems had to be loaded and tested. Crew members had to be trained. Bugs had to be worked out. Then, after 10 intensive days at sea, the crew got a break with a port visit to Hong Kong. Sea left Hong Kong on April 26th and began steaming for the Gulf of Thailand to participate in exercise Cobra Gold, an annual joint combined exercise with the Thai military. Along the way, there were the usual tasks to complete in the now oppressive heat. Underway replenishment meant supplies had to be put away. There were the constant flight operations, up to 100 sorties a day for the exercise and a tailored training assessment of the air wings. And there was the business of just keeping busy while at sea. But when thoughts weren't focused on the job at hand, they were drifting in a common direction. A port visit to Pattaya Beach, Thailand.
Controlling it. I don't see you guys rating the kind of mate I'm contemplating. I'd let you watch. I would invite you, but the queens we use would not excite you. So you better go back to your bars, your temples, your massage parlors. One night in Bangkok in the world's your oyster. The bars are temples, but the pools ain't free. You'll find a god in every golden oyster. A little special, little history. I can feel an angel sliding up to me. One night in Bangkok makes a hard man humble. Not much between despair and ecstasy. One night in Bangkok and the tough guys tumble. Can't be too careful with your company. I can feel the devil walking next to me.
After the Thailand port visit, there were still things to accomplish, as there always are on a ship at sea. The Air Wing passed their tailored training assessment, and the Air Wing commander bagged his 1,000th trap along the way. The engineers were feverishly preparing for OPI, scheduled for early June. A TV crew from Malaysia came to Indy to film a segment of their show called Golden Dream, where they fulfilled one viewer's dream of spending the day on the flight deck of a U.S. aircraft carrier. After a month and a half, though, many in the crew had their own dream of returning to their friends and families in Yokosuka.
Times have changed and times are strange. Here I come, but I ain't the same. Mama, I'm coming home. Time gone by, it seems to be you could have been a better friend to me. Mama, I'm coming home. You took me in and you drove me out, yeah, you had me hypnotized, yeah. Lost and found and turned around by the fire in your eyes. You made me cry, you told me lies, but I can't stand to say goodbye. Mama, I'm coming home. I could be right, I could be wrong. It hurts so bad, it's been so long. Mama, I'm coming home. Selfish love, yeah, we're both alone. We're right before the fall, yeah. But I'm gonna take this heart of stone. I just got to have it all. I've seen your face 100 times. Every day we've been apart. I don't care about the sunshine, yeah. 'Cause mama, I'm coming home. I'm coming I've seen your face 1,000 times. Every day we've been apart. And I don't care about the sunshine, yeah. 'Cause mama, I'm coming home. I'm coming
Independence returned to port June 1st, then set sail for Oppie just a few days later. Following Oppie, Indy set out again, this time on June 11th, for a one-day friendship cruise that gave our Japanese hosts a chance to experience life aboard the Indian Sea. Also in June, Captain Pilati cut the ribbon on Polecast, a pierside dining facility that gave crew members a chance to eat for free while enjoying the summer weather. On June 23rd, Battle Force 7th Fleet changed hands, from Rear Admiral Bernard J. Smith to Rear Admiral James O. Ellis, Jr. Then, on July 1st, Indy received an honor that would become a rallying point for the crew.
On July 1st, USS Independence became the first aircraft carrier to bear the title the oldest ship in the Navy. According to Navy tradition, since 1977, the oldest ship is honored by receiving the right to fly the first Navy Jack, also known as the Don't Tread on Me flag. A ceremony was held on board Independence marking this special occasion. Indy's commanding officer, David P. Pilati III, welcomed the guests and introduced the ceremony.
As an introduction, I would like to say that this is a unique ceremony, and the focus of the ceremony is on the crew, which is the lifeblood of the ship. Not only on the present crew, but on the crew through the years and what they have done to bring the ship here in the great shape that it is.
Vice Admiral Archie Clemens, commander U.S. 7th Fleet, was also on hand and gave a brief history on the Don't Tread on Me flag.
But just think of the audacity back in the time of our war for independence in the United States, where a very small navy consisting of only one or two ships, and they had the audacity to raise the jack, and it had 13 alternating red and white stripes on it, and said, "Don't tread on me."
He added that Indy today is better prepared and ready than she was some 40 years
The
ago.
capability of the people that are on board this ship represent a tremendous forward deployed capability that no other country possesses.
The ceremony continued when Captain Pilati ordered the first Navy Jack to be raised.
Perhaps inspired by the battle cry, "Don't Tread on Me," Senior Chief G. Lloyd Garrison's mighty Indy Warriors crushed the Yokota Raiders, and almost everyone else they played, on their way to becoming the Far East Intermilitary Champs for the first time in their 4-year history. Meanwhile, it seemed like everyone wants to visit USS Independence. Whether in port or at sea, there's always a steady stream of distinguished visitors, from the U.S. Ambassador to Japan, to members of the Big Ten All-Star basketball team, to other senior members of the Department of Defense. Our local hosts also got another chance to visit Indy on August 13th during Yokosuka's Friendship Day.
The close of Indy's summer was celebrated by more than 85,000 Japanese neighbors. The event, an annual Navy Friendship Day. This event gave the Japanese neighbors a first-hand look at the Navy's overseas activities. The streets quickly filled with both Japanese and Americans enjoying the food and beverages provided by Yokosuka's MWR. Marching bands were heard throughout the base as rock bands entertained both young and old all day. The heat didn't slow down the Japanese from sharing their culture in a samurai sword demonstration at the Benny Decker Theater, to a sold-out audience of more than 500. The Indy hosted more than 25,000 guests in a tour of the ship, and after visiting the hangar bay, guests rode on one of Indy's elevators to the flight deck. Up there, guests got a glimpse of the ship's equipment used by Indy's crew every day. Seaman Apprentice Gerald Carroll of Indy's deck department was eager to educate the guests on how things work.
Once you sit down and explain it to them or take them to the side and show them, hey, this is how this works, you know, they're really excited how everything works.
Indy's helicopter squadron HS-14 was on hand to show off their helicopters, and AW2 Sean Rostein of HS-14 explains what Navy Friendship Day is all about.
Navy's mission today for Friendship Day is to show the Japanese that, you know, we're here together as friends and we're here to support them in the welfare and the defense of their country as well.
This was a memorable day indeed for the Japanese and Americans, as friendship days like these bring already close ties of friendship closer together.
But all this visiting was hardly one-sided. Indy's crew was taking advantage of the in-port period to do a little visiting of their own.